So, this is a little bit of a different style of video that I normally do compared to the usual live commentaries that I do. This is actually a live game that I just recorded without commentating on. And this is just kind of uh, trying to make a little bit more of a well, not really tutorial, but kind of like much more in depth explain what I'm thinking throughout the game. Whereas like with live games, I'm constantly like trying to like focus on talking, but also uh, playing the game at the same time. In this sort of like format, what my goal is to be able to really kind of go super in depth on what I'm thinking at the time of playing without having to like think about what I'm doing at the same time while talking about it. So this is a ranked game, if it wasn't immediately obvious. I don't normally play this mode because I don't have that much patience for stupidity, but anyway, I think I said something about that in my Regolo game that should be uploaded on the same day. But anyway, all of that aside, first things first, looking at the matchmaking, threats to my ship, there is a Ditto, I don't know how that's supposed to be said, it's British, they're weird. Fubuki and T-61, there's 2 destroyers and a cruiser. And the battleships are for the most part food as far as I'm concerned. So, loading into the game, I am still getting used to like the map pool and stuff. I haven't played ranked in a hot minute, but the first thing that I'm looking at right now is where I want to go, and this is going to depend on a number of things. I don't know all the tier 6 concealments off the top of my head, but Avery, whatever, I don't. It's probably something even weirder than that. But anyway, what I'm looking at doing right now is, as you can see me typing there, is I want to go in between B and C right here, and my goal is to either bump a DD that's heading down to here, or trying to cut through here. And you'll also notice I did hit my speed boost here. This is something that's not very often utilized on these Italian destroyers, is that high-speed speed boost. Even though it is short, you can see I'm literally going almost 50 knots. And even though that only lasted for like 25 seconds, I think it was, that boost of 50 knots for 25 seconds is enough to be able to pretty much beat any other destroyer to here. So if these guys are heading down to the route that I think they're going, I will be here first, simply because I'm straight up faster than them. And as you're about to see, what I'm about to come across is not what I expected to come across, so I'll give you 2 guesses as to what that is. So, looking at where I am right now, if those 2 destroyers headed towards where I thought they were going, which is I expected them to cut through here, I would have definitely spotted them by now, and that's when they step into B. So, well, okay, whatever. I didn't mean to hit that. I meant to hit pause, but whatever. When they step into B, what I'm expecting is, based on my concealment right here, my concealment ring covers about that half of B. So I know for a fact that whatever is in B either just stepped in right there, or they're right there. But based on the speed at which they stepped into the cap, if they had gone this route, this longer route right here, they would have taken longer to get there. I would have stepped into C simply because I'm a faster ship. So the only way that a destroyer could have beaten me was that they had a smaller distance to travel. So that tells me that they're probably going to be right there. And what my expectation is that most destroyers will try and charge into here and ram their head into this island, which I can go on for hours about why you shouldn't do that, but that's what I'm thinking that that destroyer is going to do. So I'm putting torps out at that island. And if they hit, they hit. If not, whatever. And that is when... Step into sea and... Boom. That's not what I expected to see there. And I did end up hitting my high-speed smoke there. I did impulse that a little bit. I really could and should have saved it a little while longer. Because there was this island right here, but I just straight up didn't realize it. So that is a mistake by me. I did pop my smoke early there. So now what I'm trying to do is I know that this cruiser's right here, and I'm expecting that he's going to jam his head into this rock. And what I'm trying to do is just kind of bait him into trying to push after me. And I'm trying to bait him to come after me and walk into this Leander. And he is in C. And there he is. And misses first shot. And you can see how hard that sap hits, by the way. That is another one of the strengths of the Italian destroyers. A lot of people will cry about how low their DPM is, but just like battleships, just like the Shimakaze, ships like those, it's really more about the Alpha Strike than it is the DPM, especially on ships that don't have heals, like most destroyers at this tier, cruisers. Any damage that you do to them will stick because they don't have heals. So that massive Alpha Strike, if you 4K a destroyer with sap, boom, that's 4K health that he's never going to get back. So, and he's just sitting straight broadside to that Leander, and you can see what's happening to him right there. I'm actually surprised that shot didn't Citadel him right there. The weakness, of course, is that sap can be bounced relatively easily. So, and this is about to be some bullshit right here. Look at that. I fucking blew up that man's house. That's really unfortunate. But that's whatever. Just pop one more shot off. And now just pop my speed boost and head towards B. And that is another advantage of that speed boost, is because even though it doesn't last long, on small maps like these, you can cover a lot of ground very quickly using that speed boost. Although I don't have the speed boost mod on here, just because the speed is so short. 30% of 25 is like only a few seconds, really. So it really isn't worth investing a full-on engine boost mod on this particular ship. You'll see them up on the higher tier ships for sure because the speed boosts are longer. But on this ship and most of the lower tier ones, you don't really need or want the speed boost mod, to be honest, because it just doesn't give you a whole lot of benefit. Because the base is so short, you're not getting a whole lot out of it. And what I'm looking at right here is this Frederick is just getting farmed out because he's just trying to bow tank a Bayern and a Warspite because reasons. And also, the eagle-eyed amongst you might notice that there's one ship that hasn't been spotted at all yet. So, I'm not going to say anything more about that until it pops up. But that's just something that you need to be looking at. When you're looking at the minimap, you can see the Fubuki's been spotted, the T-61 has been spotted, and these two are just straight up hard detected. So, looking at this minimap, there is a ship that has not been detected yet. And you want to play a lot more cautiously when you don't know where stuff is. Like, if this Leander, for instance, was to try and ram his head right here and smoke up, but he gets detected either by the T-61 or the Fubuki, or just by the battleship somehow, and that last ship ends up being up here somewhere, somehow, some way, maybe he's on the A line or something, but if he turns out to be anywhere up here, that Leander's just dead, because his broadside's just going to get turbo clapped. Just popping torps out. And right here, I am trying to use this island. And the fact that I didn't get spotted there tells me that those destroyers are either behind this island right here, or they're around here trying to put torps into this New Mexico. What I know for sure is that he's not here, and he's not anywhere that can detect me. So, that's just a little thing that you can use to narrow down a little bit where you think ships can be. I am just trying to farm this Bayern here. The SAP is not that good against these lower tier battleships just because they have less superstructure. So I really should be firing HE here. And there's the Fubuki. Now, right here, what I'm worried about is torpedoes. Fubuki is obviously a torpedo boat. And if I turn out and turn around, I'm not going to have all of my guns on target, which I want my guns on target right here for two reasons. Obviously, well, not real. It's 1.5 reasons, really. Obviously, the more guns you have on target is the more damage you're going to do to the enemy. Obvious fact is obvious. But the fact that this ship is so fast, if I go in a straight line right here at maximum speed, his torpedoes are going to have to be led into this island in order to be launched at my projected course. I would have to slow down in order to get torpedoed here, which I think, end up doing because I get greedy. But that was a disappointing salvo. No aiming bugs, by the way. And you can see you did get pretty hard clapped by that Leander, because British armor piercing has that short fuse timer. I think they're literally destroyer fuses. And there's the Adria Doria, whatever. I do just smoke up here because I don't want to take any more damage than I need to. Because just like the T-61, just like the Fubuki, I do not have a heal. So I want to save as much health as I can. And even though I would have ended up going dark, if I was counting that reload right, that Adria Doria would have gotten another shot off. And at that kind of range, his dispersion would make it pretty hard to miss, even at that kind of range. So, and I didn't want to eat a ton of overpen damage, because, like I've already said, the more damage I take now is the less HP that I have to make plays in the future. So I was willing to burn that consumable there in order to save my health. And that is a mistake that you'll see a lot of destroyer players making, is being too stingy with their consumables. Obviously, like, you want to try to not waste them. And sometimes that is going to be hard to tell whether or not you are wasting them or not. But if you're using them to save your health, then it's not a waste. Because as a destroyer, your health is your most precious resource. I always will say this to anyone who's trying to learn destroyers and kind of be a better destroyer player as a whole. Just like aircraft carriers, your influence on the match will grow as the match progresses. especially at higher tiers where radar cruisers are getting whittled down. They're either sunk or they're forced to retreat, or they're forced to play a lot more cautiously because they've taken a lot of damage, or they're at risk of getting crossfired. Battleships are often pretty out of position, usually on like the A or J lines, because, you know, battleship players. And enemy destroyers that don't have the health to contest you because they took a lot of damage really early. So your #1 priority in any destroyer is not taking unnecessary damage. Obviously, throughout the course of the game, you will take damage unless you just never get spotted, which is extremely rare. Your #1 goal is always going to be do not take unnecessary damage. And I'm not saying don't make trades and don't be so far back, or I'm not saying be so far back that you're not doing anything, and I'm not saying to not trade your health for damage on enemy destroyers, especially. As long as you come out favorably in that engagement, then you've won that fight. And the more HP you save versus the more damage you've dealt to that enemy destroyer is the harder you've won that fight. Now, looking at this map right here, this is a mistake by me. What I was expecting was this T-61 to accelerate around this island to hide from the Bayern, and I was expecting my Bayern to turn around there to both nose into Torps, but also to dislodge this T-61, and I was going to be trying to cut him off when he goes around this island, which is obviously putting me right in the path of an Andrea Doria, who ends up turning in here. I was expecting him to turn out to shoot at me, but he does end up turning in, so those Torps are going to miss. But really, what I should have done in this scenario is, well, it's not really a misplay because it ends up working out anyway, but a better use for my ship would have been is if I was more south, just follow the Bayern down, torpedo the Andrea Doria, and walk at the T-61 to dislodge him. And this sap, by the way, you can see right here, against ships like this that don't have a lot of superstructure, that sap is substantially less effective. But I do end up switching back to the HE here. And then this guy is gonna just end up going for that ram. Now, what's about to happen is this T-61 has been on this island the entire game, almost the entire game, by the way, but anyway. This Gade is just gonna walk at A, and that T-61 will not be able to stay there, because there's a Gade that, just like him, has Hydro. So his smoke and hydro gimmick is not going to save him from the Gade. He will be detected if he tries to gimmick him. So his only choice is to accelerate behind this island. And that's where I am here to cut him off. So really that mistake that I was talking about earlier didn't really end up costing me that much. But it would have been good to dislodge that T-61 when I was playing this game. That's what I was thinking, is I want to dislodge that guy. So that's it. It really didn't end up being a mistake. But if I had torpedoes up, okay, I'm just going to rewind this a little bit here. And when this Andrea Doria was walking around here at that Bayern, if I didn't blow my torpedoes on whatever it was I blew them on, I think it was that, launching them thinking it would turn out. If I had saved at least one rack there, I probably could have saved that Bayern, because I would have had his broadside to launch his torpedoes at, but that's whatever. Really what I should have done is in that scenario is I should have just smoked up and walked at the Doria, YOLO'd him, which is something that I went over in my Rigolo video, by the way, is that these ships are not really good at YOLOing, but in this scenario, the Doria was not only distracted, doesn't have Hydro, but he was also taking damage from the New Mexico and the Bayern, or at least the New Mexico at one point. So he was already damaged, so my torpedoes would have had the Alpha to kill, and then I can just walk around that island and dislodge the T-61. But what ends up happening here is T-61 rounds the corner, clap him out with sap a little bit, and then he gets finished off by, I think it was the, whatever it was. But, that was this game right here. It did end up being a little bit of a game towards the end there. I did misplay in that Doria engagement. What I should have done was just use my smoke, close in, and torp the guy, then walk at the T-61. But really, it didn't end up mattering that much because a trade there was fine. We still had 4 ships alive after that. They only had 1, so it was fine. So, I'm going to be trying to do more of these, like, post-commentary videos, by the way. If you like this format, or you want me to do more of these, or you think, hey, this style fucking sucks, you should, like, not do that. Let me know in the comments. Then if you want to see more, I will do more. And if you would rather me stick with my live format, let me know. And I will still be putting these out when I have like a really good game that really demonstrates like something to a T, whether it's positioning or predictive torps or whatever it is. I will still do videos like these, but anyway, that's going to be it for today. If you learned something or you want me to continue these, let me know, and I will see you tomorrow.